The Awakening, Earth's secret weapon. The vast expanse of space, once a realm of wonder and exploration for humanity, had become a battlefield. For decades, the Zarkonian Empire had swept through the galaxy, conquering world after world with their superior technology and seemingly endless armada. Earth and its colonies stood as the last bastion of free will in this section of the Milky Way, a flickering flame of resistance against the overwhelming tide of alien domination. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UNSS Defiant, her weathered face illuminated by the soft glow of holographic displays. The ship, hidden in the shadow of Saturn's rings, was Earth's best-kept secret, a dreadnought unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It was the culmination of years of clandestine research, reverse-engineered alien tech, and humanity's relentless drive to survive. Status report. Chen's voice cut through the tense silence of the bridge. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel's fingers danced across his console. All systems nominal. Admiral, the dark matter reactor is stable, and our stealth systems are holding. The Zarkonian fleet remains unaware of our presence. Chen nodded, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. Hundreds of Zarkonian warships hung in high Earth orbit, their sleek violet hulls glinting in the sunlight. They had arrived a week ago, demanding Earth's unconditional surrender. The UN Security Council had been buying time, feigning diplomatic negotiations while the final preparations for humanity's last stand were put into place. "It's time," Chen announced, her voice steady despite the weight of billions of lives resting on her shoulders. "Activate the quantum comm link. I want all dreadnoughts online and ready for synchronized attack." Throughout the solar system, 5 other dreadnoughts identical to the Defiant powered up, hidden in the asteroid belt beneath the storm clouds of Jupiter. And in other strategic locations, they represented humanity's ultimate trump card. As the quantum link established, holographic projections of the other dreadnought captains appeared on the Defiant's bridge. Chen looked at each of them, men and women she had trained with, fought alongside, and trusted with the fate of their species. "This is it," Chen addressed them, her voice firm. "Everything we've worked for comes down to this moment. The Zarkonians think they've won. They believe Earth is defenseless, ready to fall like all the others. Today, we prove them wrong. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity will not go quietly into the night." Captain Elena Rodriguez of the UNSS Phantom spoke up, her holographic form flickering slightly. "Admiral, the latest intel suggests the Zarkonians have developed new shielding technology. Our simulations show a potential 15% decrease in weapons effectiveness." Chen's lips curled into a slight smile. "Then we'll just have to hit them 15% harder, won't we? Remember your training. Use the dark matter reactors to your advantage. They may have shields, but they've never faced anything like what we're about to unleash." As the captains nodded in agreement, Chen turned to her tactical officer. "Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka, upload the attack plan to all ships. We strike in 3 minutes." The bridge buzzed with activity as final preparations were made. Chen felt a surge of pride as she watched her crew work. They were the best of the best, chosen from every corner of Earth and its colonies. Their diversity was their strength, a tapestry of cultures, ideas, and experiences that the homogeneous Zarkonian Empire could never hope to match. 1 minute to attack, Patel announced. Chen took a deep breath, centering herself. She thought of her family back on Earth, of the billions of humans and the countless other species that had sought refuge on their planet after fleeing Zarkonian oppression. They were all counting on this moment. 30 seconds. Throughout the solar system, the Dreadnought's dark matter reactors hummed to life. The revolutionary technology, born from humanity's relentless pursuit of understanding the universe, was about to be unleashed. 10 seconds. Chen gripped the arms of her command chair. "For Earth," she whispered. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. "All ships, execute attack plan Omega," Chen commanded. In an instant, the 6 dreadnoughts shed their stealth fields and accelerated to speeds that defied conventional physics. The dark matter reactors warped space-time around the ships, allowing them to cross vast distances in the blink of an eye. The Zarkonian fleet, caught completely off guard, barely had time to register the new contacts before the dreadnoughts were upon them. The Defiant materialized in the heart of the enemy formation, its weapons already firing. Lances of concentrated dark energy erupted from the dreadnoughts' banks of cannons. Where they struck, Zarkonian ships simply ceased to exist, their matter scattered into subatomic particles. Antimatter torpedoes streaked across space, each one capable of annihilating a cruiser. Direct hit on the enemy flagship, Tanaka reported, a note of excitement in her voice. Chen watched as the massive Zarkonian command ship listed to one side, secondary explosions rippling along its hull. "Press the advantage," she ordered. "Don't let them regroup." Across the battlefield, the other dreadnoughts were wreaking havoc. The UNSS Phantom, true to its name, phased in and out of normal space, appearing inside the shields of enemy vessels to deliver devastating blows before vanishing again. The UNSS Titan, largest of the dreadnoughts, deployed swarms of eye-controlled fighters. These nimble craft, each powered by its own miniaturized dark matter reactor, danced between the lumbering Zarkonian ships, exploiting weaknesses and sowing chaos. "Admiral," Patel called out, "we're detecting a surge of tachyon particles. I think the Zarkonians are trying to call for reinforcements." Chen's eyes narrowed. "Not on my watch. Reconfigure the dark matter reactor. Initiate Operation Blackout." The Defiant's reactor core pulsed, sending out waves of exotic particles that interacted with the fabric of spacetime itself. Subspace communications across the entire solar system were instantly disrupted. The Zarkonian fleet was now cut off, alone, and outgunned. As the battle raged on, Chen allowed herself a moment of grim satisfaction. The element of surprise had given them a significant advantage, but she knew the real test was yet to come. The Zarkonians would adapt, would bring to bear weapons and tactics that humanity had never seen before. But for now, for this shining moment, humanity had seized the initiative. The dreadnoughts, these secret weapons born of human ingenuity and determination, were more than a match for the alien armada that had thought victory was assured. As another Zarkonian battlecruiser exploded under the Defiant's onslaught, Chen's resolve hardened. This was only the beginning. The road ahead would be long and fraught with peril, but humanity had taken its first step towards freedom, towards a future among the stars that they would forge with their own hands. "All ships," Chen broadcast to the dreadnought fleet, her voice filled with fierce pride, "continue the assault. Today, we fight not just for Earth, but for every world that has suffered under Zarkonian oppression. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity will not be conquered. Today, we take back our future." As the battle raged on, the dreadnoughts danced their deadly dance among the stars, heralding a new chapter in the history of the galaxy. One where humanity would no longer be the hunted, but the defenders of freedom across the cosmos. Turning the tides, humanity's ingenuity shines. The initial shock of humanity's counterattack began to wear off, and the true battle for Earth's solar system commenced in earnest. Admiral Sarah Chen watched from the bridge of the UNSS Defiant as the Zarkonian fleet regrouped, their remaining ships forming defensive clusters. "They're adapting quickly," Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel observed, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Their shield configurations are shifting to counter our dark energy weapons." Chen nodded grimly. As expected, the Zarkonians didn't conquer half the galaxy by being slow learners. "Lieutenant Tanaka, initiate Phase 2. Across the human dreadnought fleet, a new set of protocols activated. The ship's eyes, fed by real-time battle data, began to recalibrate their weapons on the fly. It was a system born from humanity's long history of warfare and technological innovation. The ability to adapt and overcome, encoded into the very core of their military doctrine. The UNSS Phantom, under the command of Captain Elena Rodriguez, was the first to demonstrate the effectiveness of this approach. As it phased into normal space beside a Zarkonian battlecruiser, its weapons fired, not with concentrated dark energy, but with a scattering field of tachyons that caused the enemy's shields to fluctuate wildly. Phantom reporting successful shield destabilization. Rodriguez's voice came through the comm, requesting follow-up strike. Chen didn't hesitate. Titan, you're up. Show them what those new torpedoes can do. The massive UNSS Titan, commanded by the stoic Captain Alexander Volkov, unleashed a barrage of what appeared to be standard antimatter torpedoes. But as they approached the destabilized Zarkonian shields, they split apart, each warhead becoming a swarm of smaller, independently targeted munitions. The result was spectacular. The Zarkonian battlecruiser, its defenses in disarray, was struck simultaneously at hundreds of points across its hull. Explosions rippled across the massive ship, and within moments, it began to break apart. Excellent work, Chen commended. All ships implement adaptive targeting protocols. Let's keep them guessing. As the battle progressed, the true strength of humanity's approach became clear. While the Zarkonians relied on overwhelming force and tried and true tactics, the human fleet was a constantly evolving puzzle. Each dreadnought seemed to fight in a unique way, forcing the enemy to divide their attention and resources. The UNSS Defiant itself became a focal point of the Zarkonian counterattack. 3 enemy dreadnoughts, each easily twice the size of Chen's flagship, converged on her position. They're trying to isolate us from the fleet, Patel warned. Chen's mind raced, considering and discarding strategies in split seconds. Then a glimmer of an idea formed. Tanaka, how quickly can we reconfigure the dark matter reactor for a controlled overload? The tactical officer's eyes widened slightly, but she quickly ran the calculations. We could manage it in about 2 minutes, Admiral, but the energy release would be substantial. Perfect, Chen said with a grim smile. Helm, plot a course directly between those 3 dreadnoughts. Patel, I want you to coordinate with the other ships. When I give the signal, I need the Phantom and Titan to hit those Zarkonian ships with everything they've got. As the Defiant accelerated towards what looked like certain doom, Chen opened a channel to the entire human fleet. All ships, this is Admiral Chen. Prepare for Operation Supernova. On my mark. The tension on the bridge was palpable as the massive Zarkonian dreadnoughts loomed ever larger on the view screen. Energy weapons lashed out, straining the Defiant's shields. Shields at 40% and dropping, Paddle reported, his voice tight. Reactor reconfiguration complete, Tanaka added. Ken took a deep breath. Now. In that instant, several things happened at once. The Defiant's dark matter reactor went into a controlled overload, releasing an enormous surge of energy. At the same time, the ship's own shields inverted, containing the blast for a crucial split second before allowing it to expand outward in a sphere of pure destruction. The 3 Zarkonian dreadnoughts, caught in the epicenter of this artificial supernova, were engulfed. Their shields, already taxed by attacks from the Phantom and Titan, crumbled under the onslaught. When the energy wave dissipated, the Defiant emerged, battered but intact, surrounded by the scattered debris of its much larger opponents. A cheer went up across the human fleet. The Zarkonians, for the first time since the battle began, seemed to hesitate. But Chen knew better than to celebrate too early. Status report, she demanded. Shields are down, and we've lost 30% of our weapon systems, Paddle responded. But the reactor is stable, and life support is functioning. Chen nodded. And the enemy? They're pulling back, Admiral, Tanaka reported with a note of awe in her voice. I think we might have actually scared them. A grim smile played across Chen's lips. Good, but this fight is far from over. All ships, regroup and prepare for their next move. They won't underestimate us again. As the human dreadnoughts maneuvered into a defensive formation around the wounded Defiant, Chen couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Humanity, outnumbered and outgunned, was holding its own against the most powerful empire in the galaxy. But she also knew that the true test was yet to come. The Zarkonians would be regrouping, analyzing, planning their next move. And somewhere out there, beyond the solar system, the rest of the Zarkonian armada would be wondering why they'd lost contact with their invasion force. Chen turned to her communications officer. "Get me a secure line to Earth. It's time to brief the Security Council on our progress and prepare for the next phase." As she waited for the connection, Chen's gaze drifted to the main view screen, where the tattered remains of the Zarkonian fleet hung against the backdrop of stars. For the first time in decades, those stars didn't seem quite so out of reach. Humanity had taken its stand, and the galaxy would never be the same. The alien dilemma: respect or annihilation. In the depths of the Zarkonian flagship, Supreme Commander Zexkera seethed with a mixture of rage and disbelief. The holographic displays surrounding him showed the devastation wrought upon his once mighty invasion fleet. Ships that had conquered 1,000 worlds now drifted as lifeless husks, their crews scattered to the cosmic winds. "Impossible," Zexkera muttered, his four eyes blinking in rapid succession. These primitives, how could they have developed such technology? His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vril, approached cautiously. "Supreme Commander, our analysts have completed their initial assessment of the human weapons. It appears they have harnessed dark matter in ways we never thought possible." Zexkera's tentacles writhed in agitation. "And why? Vril, did we not foresee this? Why were we not prepared?" Vril hesitated before responding. "Sir, all of our intelligence suggested that Earth was a backward planet, barely capable of interplanetary travel. This level of advancement, it defies all logic." The Supreme Commander turned his gaze back to the battle displays. The human ships, though fewer in number, moved with a fluidity and unpredictability that confounded Zarkonian tactical computers. Each time his forces thought they had adapted to one form of attack, the humans would shift strategies, unleashing new and terrifying weapons. "We underestimated them," Zexkera admitted, the words tasting bitter in his mouth. "But we will not make that mistake again. Prepare a transmission to the homeworld. We need reinforcements." Vril's skin paled slightly. "Sir, our long-range communications are still being jammed by the humans. We're cut off." For a long moment, silence reigned on the bridge of the Zarkonian flagship. Then, Zexkera did something that shocked his entire crew. He laughed. "Brilliant," he chuckled, his voice tinged with a grudging respect. "Truly brilliant. They trapped us here, forced us to fight on their terms." He turned to Vril, a new fire in his eyes. "Send a message to the human fleet. I wish to speak with their commander." Back on the UNSS Defiant, Admiral Sarah Chen was in the midst of coordinating repairs when the communication came through. "Admiral," Lieutenant Commander Patel called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the Zarkonian flagship. They're requesting a parley." Chen raised an eyebrow. "Well, that's unexpected. Put it through." The holographic form of Supreme Commander Zexkera materialized on the Defiance bridge. Despite the alien nature of his features, Chen could read the mix of frustration and curiosity in his stance. "I am Supreme Commander Zexkera of the Zarkonian Empire," the alien began. "To whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?" Chen stepped forward, her posture straight and proud. "Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. What can I do for you, Supreme Commander?" Zexkera's tentacles twisted in what might have been a smile. "You can start by explaining how a species we deemed primitive managed to develop technology that rivals our own." "I'm afraid that's classified information, Commander," Chen replied coolly. "But I'd be happy to give you a first-hand demonstration if you'd like to continue this battle." The alien commander's eyes narrowed. "You've fought well, Admiral. Your species has earned a measure of respect. Perhaps we can come to an arrangement." Chen's expression remained neutral, but inwardly her mind was racing. This was an opportunity, but also a potential trap. "I'm listening." "A temporary ceasefire," Zexkera proposed. Time for both sides to tend to their wounded and repair our ships. And perhaps to discuss terms. Terms. Chen echoed, her tone careful. Yes, the alien continued. The Zarkonian Empire is vast, Admiral. This fleet is but a fraction of our strength. We could continue this battle, call for reinforcements, and eventually overwhelm you through sheer numbers. Chen resisted the urge to smile. The Zarkonian commander was bluffing. With their communications jammed, they had no way to call for help. But she played along. And yet, here you are, proposing the ceasefire. Zexkera's tentacles writhed. We are not without reason, Admiral. Your species has proven itself. Interesting. Perhaps there is a place for humanity within the Empire. As equals rather than subjects. The bridge of the Defiant fell silent. Chen could feel the weight of her crew's gaze upon her. This wasn't a decision she could make alone. I'll need to consult with my superiors, she said finally. But I'm amenable to a temporary ceasefire. 2 hours. No ship on either side is to power weapons or move from their current positions. Agreed? The alien commander nodded. Agreed. 2 hours, Admiral. I look forward to our next conversation. With that, his hologram flickered out of existence. As soon as the transmission ended, Shen turned to her crew. Opinions. It's a trick, Tanaka said immediately. They're buying time to regroup. Patel nodded in agreement, or to find a way around our jamming. We should press our advantage while we have it. But Chen's XO, Commander David Torres, who had been silent until now, spoke up. Or maybe they're genuinely impressed. We've done what no other species has managed. We fought the Zarkonian Empire to a standstill. Maybe they really are considering a peaceful resolution. Chen considered this for a moment. We need to speak with the Security Council, and I want every ship in the fleet on high alert. If the Zarkonians so much as power up a shuttle, I want to know about it. As her crew scrambled to carry out her orders, Chen stared out at the starfield, where the remnants of 2 mighty fleets hung in an uneasy truce. In just a few hours, the fate of humanity, perhaps of the entire galaxy, would be decided. Would it be peace, continued war, or something else entirely? One thing was certain. Humanity had proven itself a force to be reckoned with. Whatever came next, the galaxy would never be the same. Pushing the limits. The final offensive. The 2-hour ceasefire passed in a flurry of activity. On Earth, the United Nations Security Council debated furiously, weighing the risks and potential benefits of negotiation against the momentum of their military success. In space, both human and Zarkonian crews worked tirelessly to repair their battered ships, all while keeping a wary eye on their opponents. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UNSS Defiant, her face illuminated by the glow of holographic displays showing the status of the human fleet. The decision from Earth had come through just moments ago, and now it was time to face the Zarkonians once more. Open a channel to Supreme Commander Zexkera, Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the weight of billions of lives resting on her shoulders. The alien commander's image flickered to life before her. Admiral Chen. Zexkera greeted, his tentacles writhing with what Chen had come to recognize as anticipation. I trust you've had time to consider our proposal. Chen nodded, her expression neutral. We have, Supreme Commander. The leadership of Earth has authorized me to continue these discussions. However, we have some concerns that need to be addressed. Zexkera's 4 eyes blinked in rapid succession. Of course. Please, elaborate. First and foremost, Chen began, we need assurances that this isn't merely a ploy to buy time. The Zarkonian Empire has a history of, let's say, flexible interpretations of diplomatic agreements. The alien commander's skin rippled in what might have been amusement. A fair concern. Admiral, what would you propose to allay your fears? Chen was about to respond when alarms blared across the Defiance bridge. Lieutenant Tanaka's voice cut through the chaos. Admiral, we're detecting massive energy spikes from the Zarkonian fleet. They're powering up weapons. In that instant, Chen realized they'd been played. The ceasefire, the offer of negotiations, it had all been a ruse to lull them into a false sense of security. Zexkara's hologram grinned, revealing rows of sharp teeth. I must commend you, Admiral. Your species has proven far more formidable than we anticipated. But the Zarkonian Empire does not share power. We conquer or we destroy. There is no middle ground. With that, the transmission cut off, and all hell broke loose. The Zarkonian fleet surged forward, their weapons blazing with a fury that dwarfed their previous attacks. It seemed they had been holding back, waiting for this moment to unleash their full might. All ships, battle stations. Chen roared, her mind already racing through tactical options. Evasive maneuvers, return fire at will. The human dreadnoughts scattered, their dark matter drives flaring as they sought to avoid the onslaught. But the Zarkonians had learned from their earlier defeats. Their attacks were more coordinated now, targeting the humans' perceived weaknesses with terrifying precision. Phantoms taken a direct hit, Patel reported, his voice trained. Their reactors going critical. Chen gritted her teeth. Titan, cover the Phantom's retreat. Defiant, we're going in. Prepare to execute Maneuver Omega-3. As the battle raged around them, the Defiant plunged into the heart of the Zarkonian formation. Their dark matter reactor pulsed, warping space-time around the ship in ways that confounded enemy targeting systems. Fire everything we've got, Chen commanded. Let's remind them why they wanted to negotiate in the first place. The Defiant unleashed a barrage that would have annihilated a small moon. Zarkonian ships vanished in blossoms of fire and twisted metal. But for every enemy vessel they destroyed, 2 more seemed to take its place. Hours passed, and the tide of battle ebbed and flowed. Both fleets had been reduced to shadows of their former selves, but neither side was willing to yield. On the bridge of the Defiant, now scared and dimmed by multiple hull breaches, Admiral Chen received a transmission from Earth. The holographic form of the UN Secretary-General appeared before her, his face grave. Admiral, we've been monitoring the situation. The Zarkonians have begun targeting civilian populations on Mars and our lunar colonies. We can't hold out much longer. Chen's heart sank, but her resolve hardened. Understood, sir. We'll find a way to end this. As the transmission ended, an idea began to form in Chen's mind. It was risky, possibly suicidal, but it might be their only chance. Patel, she called out, get me a secure line to all remaining ship captains and prep the dark matter reactor for total overload. Her XO, Commander Torres, looked at her in shock. Admiral, that would destroy us along with them. Chen nodded grimly. Maybe, but it might be our only shot at saving Earth. As the ship captain's holograms appeared, Shen outlined her desperate plan. The remaining human dreadnoughts would converge on the Zarkonian flagship, using their combined dark matter reactors to create a localized singularity. The resulting gravitational event would tear apart both fleets, and possibly a good chunk of the solar system. It's a one-way trip, Chen concluded. But if we succeed, we'll take out the Zarkonian command structure and give Earth a fighting chance against any reinforcements. There was a moment of silence as the gravity of the situation sank in. Then, one by one, the captains nodded their agreement. For Earth, Captain Rodriguez of the Phantom said softly. For humanity, added Captain Volkov of the Titan. Chen looked at each of them, feeling a surge of pride. It's been an honor serving with all of you. Now let's show these aliens what humanity is truly capable of. As one, the remnants of the human fleet turned towards the massive Zarkonian flagship. Their engines flared one last time as they accelerated towards their final destination, and what they hoped would be the salvation of their species. In the vastness of space, 6 ships charged towards an alien armada, carrying with them the hopes and dreams of an entire planet. The final battle for Earth's solar system had begun, and its outcome would reshape the galaxy forever. A new dawn, reshaping the galaxy. The void of space erupted in a cataclysm of light and energy as the human dreadnoughts converged on the Zarkonian flagship. Admiral Sarah Chen stood resolute on the bridge of the UNSS Defiant, her eyes fixed on the rapidly approaching alien vessel. "All ships, initiate dark matter reactor overload. Now," Chen commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. As one, the human fleet's reactors pulsed with impossible energy. Space itself seemed to warp and twist around them, the fabric of reality straining under the onslaught of power. The Zarkonian ships, caught off guard by this desperate maneuver, scrambled to retreat, but it was too late. At the point of convergence, a blinding flash erupted, momentarily outshining the sun itself. Then, as if the universe held its breath, an eerie silence fell across the battlefield. For a split second, nothing seemed to happen. Then, reality tore asunder. A singularity bloomed in the heart of the Zarkonian fleet, its gravitational pull instantly overwhelming. Alien ships, some larger than cities, were crushed like tin cans as they were drawn inexorably towards the newly formed black hole. The human dreadnoughts, their mission complete, were similarly pulled in, their hulls groaning under the immense gravitational stress. On the bridge of the Defiant, alarms blared as systems failed one by one. Chen gripped her command chair, a mix of triumph and resignation on her face. "It's been an honor," she said to her crew, her voice barely audible over the sound of the ship tearing itself apart. But fate, it seemed, had other plans for humanity's heroes. Just as the Defiant was about to cross the event horizon, a surge of dark energy erupted from its failing reactor. The ship lurched, tumbling end over end, and was suddenly flung clear of the Singularity's pull. Battered, scared, and barely functional, the Defiant drifted away from the chaos it had wrought. Hours passed as the Singularity consumed the remains of both fleets before finally collapsing in on itself, leaving behind nothing but scattered debris where two mighty armadas had once battled. On Earth, and across the colonies of the solar system, people watched in awe and trepidation as the light from the battle finally reached them. Had they won? Or had humanity just witnessed its last stand? Their answer came in the form of a weak transmission from the lone surviving ship. "This is Admiral Chen of the UNSS Defiant." Her voice crackled through countless speakers across human space. "The Zarkonian invasion fleet has been neutralized. Earth is safe." Cheers erupted across the planet, a collective release of tension that had built up over weeks of uncertainty and fear. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged victorious. In the days that followed, rescue ships were dispatched to recover the Defiant and its miraculous survivors. Admiral Chen and her crew were hailed as heroes, their names etched into the annals of human history. But even as humanity celebrated, Chen knew that their victory had come at a great cost. The loss of life on both sides had been staggering, and the use of such devastating weapons would have far-reaching consequences. 1 month after the battle, Admiral Chen stood before the United Nations General Assembly, her uniform adorned with new medals, her face bearing the weight of recent events. "We have won a great victory," she began, her voice echoing through the hallowed chamber. "But in doing so, we have also announced our presence to the galaxy in no uncertain terms. The Zarkonian Empire, vast as it is, will not take this defeat lightly. And there may be other threats out there, waiting beyond the stars." She paused, looking out at the assembled leaders of Earth. "We can no longer afford to be reactive. The time has come for humanity to take its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as defenders. We must use the knowledge we've gained, the technology we've developed, to ensure that no species ever again faces the threat of extinction at the hands of an expansionist empire." Her words sparked intense debate, but in the end, the course was set. Humanity would venture out into the galaxy, armed with their newfound mastery of dark matter technology. They would seek out other species subjugated by the Zarkonians, offering alliances and sharing their defensive capabilities. In the years that followed, Earth became a beacon of hope in a galaxy long dominated by fear. The human penchant for innovation, combined with their fierce determination to protect not just themselves but all sentient life, reshaped the cosmic order. Admiral Sarah Chen, hailed as the savior of Earth, would go on to lead humanity's first diplomatic missions to other star systems. Under her guidance, a coalition of free worlds began to form, united in their desire for peace and their readiness to stand against any who would threaten it. As human ships ventured further into the unknown, they carried with them a simple message, broadcast on all frequencies in countless alien tongues. To all who hear this, know that you are not alone. We are humanity. We come in peace, and we stand ready to defend those who cannot defend themselves. The age of empires is over. The age of unity has begun. And so, from the ashes of a battle that nearly ended human civilization, a new era of galactic cooperation was born. The stars, once a source of terror and invasion, became a frontier of hope and discovery. Humanity had not just survived its trial by fire. It had emerged as a force for change in the cosmos. The legacy of the dark matter dreadnoughts and the brave souls who crewed them would echo across the galaxy for millennia to come. As Admiral Chen looked out at the star-filled sky from the bridge of Earth's first diplomatic vessel, she allowed herself a small smile. The journey ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, but humanity was ready. They had faced annihilation and emerged stronger. Whatever the universe had in store, they would face it together, as one united species among the stars. The end, and a new beginning.